It started with a ring, or rather, the absence of one. You wouldn't think a guy would miss something so important. After all, he spent 2 years saving up nearly $18,500 for a sparkling engagement ring, one that was meant to symbolize love, commitment, and the whole fairy tale future. But his fiancée, Melissa, was slick. She wore the ring when she got home, kissed him hello, acted like everything was perfect. The deception? She never wore it to work. And it wasn't until he surprised her with lunch that he noticed her left hand was as bare as the office break room fridge on a Friday afternoon. "Where's your ring?" he asked casually, placing her favorite sandwich in front of her. She blinked, eyes darting from her finger to his face like she'd been caught stealing office supplies. "I don't wear it to work," she said, matter of fact. Cool as cucumber water at a corporate retreat. Cue the confusion. She claimed it wasn't professional to wear an engagement ring. Also added, quite firmly, that she didn't owe anyone her relationship status. All right, fair enough. He tried to understand. He didn't want to come off like a jealous boyfriend from a 2000 sitcom, so he let it slide. Until the caption happened. 2 weeks later, while scrolling through Instagram, he stumbled across a photo. A casual group shot from Melissa's office happy hour. There she was, cocktail in hand, center of attention, laughing. And there it was, the caption, "Thursday drinks with the team, office's favorite single girl." Hashtags included the cringeworthy, #Thirsty Thursday, and #single girl. That caption hit like a ton of unpaid wedding invoices. No ring in sight, left hand proudly clutching a drink, no hint of a commitment. This wasn't about professionalism anymore. This was full-on "am single and loving it" territory. But instead of confronting her right then, he decided to observe. And sure enough, every morning she left the apartment, the ring went into her purse. Every evening, back on her finger like clockwork, she wore it for him, not for the world. That realization broke something inside him. So he called a friend in her industry corporate consulting to see if this ring removal practice was actually normal. Spoiler, it was not. "That's not a thing anymore," his buddy said. "This is not Mad Men." That night, while Melissa was in the shower, he checked her phone. Something he'd never done before, because trust had always been the foundation. But what he found was a demolition crew of betrayal. A second Instagram account, an active Tinder profile, and flirty messages with multiple guys, including the Instagram caption culprit, Keith. Screenshots were taken, evidence collected, nothing was said. For 3 days, he played the role of loving fiancé, all while preparing the most dignified exit this side of a soap opera. The day Melissa left for work, ring and purse like always, he packed his essentials, loaded the truck, and drove to the bank. That's where he made his chess move. The wedding account, filled with $42,000 he'd saved, was closed. Every cent moved back to a private account in his name. Melissa had been added to the account just a month before as a surprise. Surprise indeed. Then he disappeared. Tucked away at his best friend's lake house, he went radio silent. Melissa's call started around 2 p.m. That evening, her text went from puzzled to panicked. Her card had been declined by the wedding venue. The account was closed. She begged for answers. None came. The next day, she realized he'd moved out. By then, the tone had changed again from desperation to confusion to indignation. She blamed him for everything. And then she said the magic words, "Is this about the work stuff? I can explain." That's when he finally responded. No angry rant, no essay-length takedown. Just 4 images, Keith's post, her Tinder profile, her text with Keith, and a photo of the empty ring box. That was all it took. Meltdown mode commenced. She tried calling friends, family, even his boss. But he told no one, save for his best friend Mark, who'd have sooner gnawed off his own arm than betray him. Within days, the ripples of truth reached her work. Keith, in a panic, confessed to HR before things escalated further. Melissa's carefully curated, single but secure image crumbled faster than a budget wedding cake. Then her parents found out. The truth, which she buried under layers of charm and excuses, finally surfaced. When they called him, it wasn't with accusations or anger, but something more deflating: disappointment. Her father, who had always been a steady, decent man, simply sighed into the phone, the weight of a lifetime of worry in his voice. She's always been her own worst enemy. "I'm sorry, son," he said, with a finality that made the apology feel deeper than just words. It was an acknowledgement of damage, of history repeating itself, of a daughter they couldn't shield from herself. It was all falling apart, job gone, cards maxed, rent looming, and the man she deceived gone like the last donut at a morning meeting. Melissa kept trying to reach him. Her messages turned into SOS signals. "They're threatening eviction," she cried. "I've got no one else to turn to." His reply was quiet, calm, and the verbal equivalent of changing the locks on a relationship. "You had me, and you threw it away." Click blocked. He didn't shout. He didn't expose her to the world. He just removed his presence, his money, and his future, and watched as reality did what he never had to, expose her. Weeks passed. He moved into a new place, started therapy, and sold the ring. Took a 30% hit, but considered it a refund on a fraudulent emotional investment. He booked a solo trip to Montana with the money, learned fly fishing, learned peace. Friends he drifted from during his time with Melissa came back into his life. Turns out she'd subtly pushed them away, and boxing became his new therapy. 15 pounds of stress weight gone, confidence back, sanity restored. Oh, and Keith, he was married. Surprise again. His wife, now ex-wife, reached out with a thank you note. Apparently, Melissa was one of several work distractions Keith had lined up like tabs in a browser he never intended to close. The fallout helped her get full custody of the kids. Melissa, meanwhile, moved back in with her parents. Their support came with conditions this time: therapy and employment. Word through the grapevine said she'd been diagnosed with narcissistic traits and was finally getting help. Not his problem anymore, not his circus, not his monkeys. He ran into her once, months later, in the cereal aisle of all places. She looked different, less polished, more tired. She asked to talk. He declined, politely. As he walked away, she called out, "I never deserved that ring, not because of what I did, but because I never appreciated what it meant." For once, he agreed. Life didn't go how he expected. At 39, he thought he'd be married, maybe with a kid or two. Instead, he was starting over: new apartment, new hobbies, new peace of mind. But for the first time in years, every decision was his alone. No more compromises based on lies. No more pretending things were fine. Just the quiet, solid satisfaction of knowing he walked away from someone who didn't value him and into a life where he finally valued himself. People asked if he regretted not confronting her. Confrontation, he replied, is for people who deserve explanations. She made her choices. I made mine. Sometimes the loudest revenge is silence. Sometimes the strongest move is simply closing the door and not looking back. And sometimes freedom doesn't come with fireworks, it comes with a Montana river, a fly rod, and no cell signal. And that's the wild ride, folks. From engagement ring to red flags, from heartbreak to healing, and from shady DMs to solo fly fishing in Montana. Smash that like button. Drop a comment if you've ever had to pull your own version of a clean break. And of course, subscribe for more real stories that hit harder than Keith getting dumped by his wife and fired in the same week.